Alright, you should be streaming on YouTube now. So we're going to review some more intermediate training. The decisive request was objects, so that's what we're going to start with. Probably one of the harder intermediate topics. So a good one to go through. Alright. Let's do the same thing as always. Firstly, how many arguments have we got here? One. So what is it? Just a huge object? Well, not huge one, but an object with many things in. Yeah. So how many properties or how many keys has that object got? 3, and they are first name, last name, and get welcome message. Yeah, nice. And get welcome message itself is a method, right? Alright, so it's a function. Yeah. Nice. So, what do we want to do? We want to display a string as our result. And it looks like to me that the string that we want to display at the end is very similar to what the get welcome message function returns. Yeah? So, I'm going to assume we need all just one argument, right? So it's the object. So, what can we call that? User? Yeah? And I'm going to assume that at the end we want to return the result of our get welcome message function. I think that seems reasonable, right? So I'm going to do that first. Return. How am I going to return the result of the get welcome message function? Yeah, so even though it's a function, we can still reference it just like any other property of an object. So user dot get welcome message. And then if we want to actually return the result of that function, will that return the result of the function? Just like that? We need the parentheses at the end, absolutely, to invoke that function and make it run the inner code. Cool. So, what's the hand symbols?
Parentheses.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you were asking earlier.
Oh, okay, I didn't see them. Yeah. I didn't see the hand gestures. I thought you were doing some magic in the corner. Incantations. Right. So, if we just return that now, then it's probably not going to get what we want to get. The get welcome message function itself takes an argument, yeah? It takes something called greeting. Where does that greeting come from? Okay, so in this case it's definitely hello, yeah? So it always seems to be hello, yeah? So I think that's the only thing that we have to supply is the actual greeting itself. If I return it now, what am I going to get in the first case? What string will get returned? So it's the result of this function, right? Let name equals this dot first name space this dot last name. And then return greeting, comma, name, comma, good morning. Yeah? So what will that line return then? What will my function return if I run it now? I know it's not the right answer, but just what will it return? Will it return anything? Will it get an error? What's it going to return? Or the whole thing just going to return undefined?
Oh, sorry, talking about that.
No, so I've written this code here on line 2.
Yeah.
What will it return? What will user.getWelcomeMessage invoked return? Undefined, comma, then what? John Kaczynski, comma, good morning. Yeah? Okay, let's run it just to check. I think you're right. You returned undefined, comma, John Kaczynski, comma, good morning. Yeah? So, how do I make that not return undefined? Yep, so we could just write
As a string.
hello in there as a string. Fantastic. Will that work? Yeah, I think that works, right? Done. One-liner. Not too bad, but what it's getting you used to is that we can actually have functions stored within objects, and we can store anything we want in objects, yeah? We just give it a key, and the value can be any other JavaScript object. That's one of the powers of JavaScript, right? That's why it's a dynamically typed language. We can mix data types very easily. Objects and functions themselves are very powerful in JavaScript. So yeah, I like being able to do things like this. Some people might think it's a bit too liberal, and we want our language more, more contained, so that they find this stuff maybe confusing or just not a great design pattern. But I think this is a nice feature of JavaScript personally. Okay, any questions on that one? No? Alright, moving on. Yeah, this one's a bit fun the first time you look at it. Switch keys and values. It seems like such a simple thing, but just to go through the steps in your head of all what you need to do, I think can be quite confusing. So, has anyone got a solution they'd like to share, and then maybe we can share another one? How have people approached this problem? For in loop, okay. So firstly, let's go from the start again. How many arguments? One, yeah. What shall I call it? User? Is it a user? That one is. Joseph Blatter. Portugal, Lisbon. Is that a user? Nah. Could be user details, but yeah, I think we can go for an actual generic thing here, right? We can go for data, we can go for objects. Data object, doesn't matter. Yeah, I think it's fairly generic data that we're dealing with. We just want to swap the keys and values. So we'll do that. You want to do something with a for in loop, yeah? So what's my structure for a for in loop, Nilofer? So let variable in my actual object, that object, or yeah? Yeah, but you don't want me to type like capital object or anything like that. No. So the actual object that we've named up here, yeah? So we're looping over that object that we're passing into our function. Cool. Shall I call it variable, or shall I call it something specific? What does the for in loop get from an object? What does it loop over? Does it loop over the value? Does it loop over the index? Which one does it loop over? The values. Do we agree? Index, values? What does it loop over? The keys. Yeah. So it loops over the index, if you like, or the key. Yeah, I remember I for index, so why don't I just call this key? Yeah? If you're using an of, then that's more likely going to be the value. Yeah? But we can loop over the key, fair enough. In, right? Yeah. What do you want to do inside of that loop block? Any suggestions? Declare another object, yeah. So what shall I call it? Swapped or something like that? Yeah. So you want an empty object declared. Okay. Outside of the loop. Yeah, okay. Good, I agree, outside, because otherwise we will just reinitialize that each time. So let's have it outside, cool. Then what? This is the object that we want to put our swap values inside, yeah? That's what you've created. Anyone else help out? Or you and Vince even? So we've got the general structure set up. Let's create a new object. Let's loop over that object. And now we want to do the key part to actually swap the values. And I assume at the end we just want to return our swapped object, yeah? So I can write that in as well. This is where I get to with most questions very, very quickly, and then I think, what do I do now? Yeah, so you might be in the same situation when you go through some of these trainings.
So you want to swap the key and value around, don't
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
in that case, you want to create not from the form.
So how do I access this value here? Uh-huh. So you said what? Key. Key like that? What are you saying? Key in square brackets? I don't understand what this. Yeah? Object where? Before. Yeah, okay. So to access the value of this object, then we can just do object key. Yeah, that is going to be equal, that's going to get evaluated to Joseph on the first iteration of our for loop. Yeah? That's the same as doing object dot first name in the first iteration of the loop, yeah? And then in the second iteration of the loop, it would be object dot last name. But we don't want to hard code first and last name, we want it to change, we want it to be dynamic, which is why we use the square bracket notation instead, yeah? We don't want to hard code it, we want it to be dynamic. So that's the same as doing first name, like that, in a string. But of course, because we've got a variable anyway that is a string, we don't need to put it inside of our quotes to say this is a string. Our variable is being evaluated as a string, so that's absolutely fine. Yeah? Okay, so that is the value of our old object on each iteration. What else do I need to do? It's great that we're accessing Joseph, but we need to store it somewhere, right? How do we store that somewhere? Just speak up a little bit, Melissa. We have to store it in swapped, yeah. So what am I going to do? I'm going to write swapped equals something, or what am I doing?
No, because then if you go to the next iteration, the second key taker swaps.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So all that's doing is putting swapped equal to Joseph, and then on the next way round, it will put swapped equal to Blatter, which is not what we want at all. Yeah, we're putting it equal to a string. We want to keep our object that we've created and add key value pairs inside of it, yeah? Rather than just values, we want to add a key value pair. So what's our value on the first iteration of the swapped object? We want it to be first name, right? Okay, our key, we want it to be in swapped object to be Joseph, yeah? So we said we accessed, don't want to do something like that. Swapped key equals value, yeah? That's what we want to end up with. We want to create key value pairs for our swapped object. The question is, what is the key and what is the value? Well, let's actually just put them as variables for now, right? Const value equals and const key equals. This is a bit more long-winded, but hopefully it makes it a little bit clearer. Going through all the semicolons because they're my favorite. Const key. So what did we say the key was? We said we wanted the key to be the value in this case, right? And we've already said that we access the value of the old object by using object key, and that will return the value. And how about the value itself? So the new value we want to be first name. Huh?
The new value has to be the key.
The new value is just the key, exactly. Yeah, yeah. Every time we iterate over it, the new value is just the key. So then we're saying swapped, old value, yeah, equals the old key. They've swapped around. Okay. Will that work? No? Why not?
Oh, yeah, yeah. No, is equal to the key. Yeah,
Should work, yeah. Let's have a look. Wouldn't return anything for functions swapped to key is assigned a value but it's never used. Oh, I called it key and key, haven't I? That's silly. Let's just say new key and new value. I'm sure new key is assigned but never used. Again, I haven't swapped everywhere. Sorry, guys. New key, new value. Yeah. So as long as you don't get a naming conflict, then absolutely it does work. Function swapped has too many statements. So I think the easiest way to reduce this is we don't actually have to create separate variables for our new key and our new value, do we? Let's just put our new key equal to object key, and our new value is equal to our old key. So I've just written it inline instead, and it still works. And we've got no elegance issues now. Yeah, it's confusing the first time you look at it, so if you've got any questions.
Yeah, swapped and then the square brackets. Why are we using square ones?
Uh-huh. So what would you want to put inside of there instead?
No, I'm just asking why we're using square ones, because to me it looks like an array within an array after swap.
Mm-hmm.
Is what I'm saying.
Yep, so keep talking for a second while I eat.
I can just keep saying, to be honest, that's sort of, talking whilst I'm eating.
How would I add a new key value pair called age to swapped, to my swapped object? It's a leading question. I'm not going off on a tangent too much. It's a leading question. No, we want to assign something, right? So I want to add, so I now want my swapped object to be Joseph first name, Blatter last name, and I want to have a separate key value pair just saying age 30 or something like that. Yeah?
Do curly braces and then
Curly braces? Where's curly braces going, you?
array brackets. I don't know. Is that how you do it?
I'm not sure what you want to do. So curly braces where? After swaps or?
Yeah, and then you do square braces.
And then square braces inside?
Yeah, and then Joseph colon first name.
Oh no, so swapped equals that already. Yeah? So if I return, so maybe you've just come in, sorry. So if I return swap now, the result's correct. It's getting me that object. Yeah, I can either move over to DevTools, but I was just going to do it in here because we can still see the result in here. So I just want to add something else to this object before I return it. I just want to add age 30 to my object as well. That's all I want to do. Yeah, how do I do that? How do I populate an object with new things? Oh, back to beginner training, I think, guys. Objects beginner, yeah?
You need to write the object and inside you need to write
I can write the object itself, then I can do what?
whichever you want to access that you need to write.
I'm not accessing, I want to create a brand new key value pair inside of an object. It doesn't exist yet, there is no age key. How do I just add an age key with a value into an object? Say again for it.
No, I think about it.
No.
It's the wrong line.
We can use dot notation is one way. We can do swapped.age equals 30. Done. Yeah. So object property that doesn't exist yet, but that's fine. If we give it a value, it will create it for us and stick it inside of the object. If I now return swapped, I'm going to get Joseph first name, Blatter last name, age 30 in my object. Yeah, you see? So,
Age equals 30.
yeah, the key is age, the value is 30.
Simple.
Yeah, so yeah, it's objects 101, right? One of the first things you should learn about objects is how to add to them. It's similar to what Ricardo did this morning, right? CRUD operations. How do we create an object? Well, we've done that in line 2. How do we read an object? Well, we don't have the equal sign. Yeah, that wouldn't find anything now, but swapped dot Blatter, right?
The update part would be the equals part.
Yeah, and the update part would be using assignment. Yeah, age equals whatever you want it to equal. That's your update in CRUD. The delete, we can do that as well, right? We just type delete in front of an object, and that would delete the object's property.
And the read part was just flash, or like whatever key you want to put in.
The read is just that. Object
Yeah.
dot existing key
Yeah.
will return the value of associated with that key. Yeah? Yeah, if those things still aren't clear, then you just need to either revise the objects beginner training or just play around with objects in DevTools, right? And see what you get back when you run certain commands. But my point was, we can add things like that to objects, or we can also add them using the square bracket notation for it. Yeah?
Okay.
So if I wanted a new property called gender, then I could write gender in there as a string equals who we got? Joseph? Probably male, right? And then I could put male in there like that as a string. Now if I return swapped, am I going to have 2 properties, 3 properties, 4 properties?
Or
Yeah,
first name, last name, age, gender.
exactly. If I run it now, I've got yeah, those 2 switched at the front, then I've got age, then I've got gender. Yeah, so lines 6 and 7 are equivalent. We can either use dot notation when working with objects, or we can use square bracket notation. Now, square bracket notation is really useful when we're working with variables. So if we know the name of the key beforehand that we want to add, like age, then that's fine. We can use dot notation. But let's say we didn't know, for whatever reason, the value of the key that we wanted to add. Say it was stored in a variable in a separate file. I'm going to call it key to add. And that is going to be gender.
Or we didn't know the key.
But it's stored in a different file. We don't know it within this file. I'm combining 2 files. I'll have to set up a React app or something to do it otherwise, Ewan. Please use your imagination a little bit, otherwise I'm going to really struggle, right? So this is set somewhere else. It might not even be set by us. Yeah, we might just be importing a file that one of our colleagues has written. In that file, he's got that line, yeah? Yeah, and we've done import key to add from external file. Yeah, something like that. But I have to show it here, otherwise it's not going to make sense, right? So we've imported some variable called key to add. Can I just do swapped dot key to add equals male? Would that work?
Yes.
What's it would sort of work, right? But what am I going to get inside of my object? I'm going to have my first two properties, and then what? I'm going to have a property called...
Key to add dot gender or something.
No, it won't be key to add dot gender. It will just be...
Key to add.
Yeah, it will just be called key to add male. Alright, it's not really what I wanted. I wanted it to be called gender equals male. Yeah? So that's not treating key to add as a variable. It's treating it as a string. Okay, here's the key. It's called key to add. Assign it a value of male. If instead we use our square brackets, what's going to happen now?
It's going to treat key to add as the string that we want.
Yeah, it's going to treat key to add as the string. It's going to evaluate that bit inside of the square brackets first, and then add it to our property. Add it to our object, sorry. So if I run that now, at the end we've got gender male as intended. Yeah? So that is what we are doing up here, Porrick. We're evaluating object key,
Which are both variables.
which are both variables. Yeah. So key, to begin with, was first name. Object, always, is this object. Yeah? But we need to evaluate them as variables, which is why we've stuck them inside the square brackets. Really good question, and I think that showed that people weren't fully confident with that, so I'm glad you pointed it out again. The man with the questions is Porrick. He always asks the good questions. Yeah? Anything else on that one? Making sense a bit now, or at least more sense? It's still a tricky thing to retain in your head, I think, when just seeing as that one line of code. It's doing a lot of things. We'll just break it down step by step. First it's getting the key, evaluating that. Then it's doing object key, evaluating that. Putting it inside of the swapped object, equal to the old key. Yeah. Alright. Moving on. Delete props where values are numbers. Okay. First things first. How many arguments again? 2? What 2? Name and born. How many arguments are getting passed into my function?
Just one.
Just one. Just an object again. And this looks like a person, yeah? So I'll call it a person, or even an person if you don't type P properly. And have I typed a P there, or was it? Yeah, I think I probably typed that P there. Right? I assume function wasn't misspelt like that. Cool. What do I want to return at the end? Yeah, I want to return an object, right? Without numbers. So, yeah. I think I'm probably going to want a copy of the object, right? And return that. So I'm just going to say return copy at the end. And my copy is going to be an object.
Keyword.
No. So that's why I'm creating it now. So how do I create a copy of an object?
Empty curly brackets.
You want to do empty curly brackets? Yeah. Could I do that nowadays in modern JavaScript? The answer is yes, right?
But again, it will give us again it will give us the number.
I haven't finished the question yet, but I'm just saying, can I create a copy of an object by doing that? Yeah? If I do that, then it looks like I've also created a copy. So let's discuss the differences between it, right? So if I did delete copy.name and then return the original object, is the original object going to be unchanged or not? Unchanged?
But it's not going to return an object.
It's not going to return an object? No? So you think it will break on line 3 then? But I thought I set my copy equal to my person object.
You're not returning the person.
I'm returning person. It says return person right there.
Sorry, you're not returning the copy.
Yeah.
That wasn't my question. I said, has the original person object changed? So I want to return the person just to see whether the person has changed. So look, even though we've deleted the name property from the copy, also we've deleted the name property from the person. There's not really desired behavior in JavaScript. Yeah, it's weird, right? There's not really desired behavior in your JavaScript program, because you can delete one thing and oh damn, I've deleted lots of other things that I didn't intend to delete, if you try and make a copy like that with using an equal sign. We spoke week 2, I think, about primitives and non-primitive data types. And with a non-primitive data type like an object, a complex data type, when we use the equals, we just pass a reference to the object. Yeah, so we've got 2 things stored in memory. We've got copy and person, but they both point to the actual same object in memory. So if we delete something in one, we delete something in the other, because they're just both pointers to this object. Yeah, so we don't want to create a copy like that, but if in modern JavaScript, I think only 2 years old or something, this one, we can use the spread operator to spread objects. So it previously worked with arrays, as we've seen yesterday, I think, but we can also spread objects now, which is pretty handy because we can use it to make copies of objects. Now, if I delete copy.name and return person, person should be unchanged. I'm not even sure whether that's going to work though, because our display tends to lag a little bit. So, oh no, it's going to work. All right. So now we can see that the person object is unchanged, but the copy object has the deleted property. Yeah, so please, if you're deleting things from object, which is very aggressive, create a copy first. And the way to create a copy, you don't have to technically do it for this question, but it's a good practice. Create a copy first, and a nice way to do that in modern JavaScript is just use your spread operator. Yeah? And a nice way in modern JavaScript is still to include your semicolons, because it is a best practice. Alright, so we don't want to delete the name though. What do we want to delete, and how are we going to distinguish where the props have numbers as their values? Honest answer, thank you, Ewan, I like that. We're going to go through it. Yeah, definitely, yeah, no thing.
Can we use a regular expression to test for
Ooh,
alphanumeric?
can we use a regular expression to calculate alphanumeric things? We could do. It's probably not the simplest way, but let's try, yeah. Suggestions? You want an if statement in there, or what do you want? Or yeah.
We can use foreign.
For in again, yeah, okay, we can use for in, yeah.
Yeah, but we need to test at some point for what value is a number.
Mm-hmm.
So inside that we have if.
Okay. So you want to loop over things first, yeah? Alright.
Or we can use as said.
I think you've both got part of the answer, so I think we need to combine it, but what bit do you want to do first? Do you want to start with a for in loop, or you want to start with detecting if something is a number or not? Start with a loop.
If we're doing a regular expression, don't we need to do the variable? Because then that would be used inside the loop.
Okay.
The object of
If we're doing a regex action.
So you want to create a variable called what is number or something like that. And is that going to be your regular expression that's going to test for that? I don't know. I don't know what you want to do. So
Yeah,
let me know.
that's my logic, but
Yeah. Okay.
I'm
What
not
next?
saying I can implement it.
Ah.
2 slashes.
Do you want to create a regular expression literal? Yeah.
Within it, it's what is the flagged test? W's. It's W's, isn't it?
W for
Test
alphanumeric.
characters.
Right. Yeah. So that will be an alphanumeric character. Just one at the moment. You've also got D for digit, which might be more useful in this case.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although
We'll need
Isn't-
one
isn't
more.
the one oh yeah, no nothing.
So would we have a plus?
Plus
Say
for
one or more.
for saying one or more digits. Yeah, I like that. Rather than writing D D D D D. Yeah, that's good. And we can't just write D because that will look for D. So is it like that? Yeah, backslash D to say that this is a special character. It's not the letter D. It's any digit. Yeah. Port was quite right. Yeah, we can look for any digit by using backslash D.
yeah, now the for loop can have that.
And in the for loop, we can test for that somehow. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So rather than is number, shall I just call it regex for now then, yeah? Alright. Yeah, okay. This could work. let's keep going, shall we? Everything can always possibly work. It's just got to be clever enough to think of a way to apply it, right? For key in what? Person. Yeah, nice. What are we doing inside of that loop?
So now we want the value to be compared with our
Okay, yep, so we want the value to be compared with our regex. So how do I access the value? Key in brackets and person outside, yeah. You work inwards, outwards, I get it now, the loafer, yeah. Okay, so that will get our value. So that will either, well, on the first iteration, that's going to get Marlon Brando, and on the second iteration, that's going to get 1984. Cool, yeah, I like that. What are we doing with that value?
Would we use the match method?
Could use match. What are we matching it to, though? I think there's probably a better method we can use. But if we do the value dot match RE, then you're going to just return the actual match. Could do includes. Is it an array or maybe? I think test is probably better in this case, right? Can't we just use test? That returns true or false already. Yeah. So the syntax for test was that's re.test, yeah, that way around. Person.key, is it a string? Will that work? Can we test it on numbers like that? Let's find out, right? Okay, so that will return true or false. Okay, fine, but if it's true, then what? Okay. So what? If that, then
false, then
remove
then copy.
it. Yeah?
No, if this is not true, then you have to put it in copy.
If it's not true, then put it in copy. So you want to say if it's not true, then you want to do copy dot
Person key.
dot person key. So copy. Okay. Any problems with that? I think maybe you're doing it an old way that you've previously done it in the loafer, and we've set this up slightly differently. Our copy's not an empty object.
Can make that empty.
You want to make it an empty object? Okay, so let me stick that there for later. Not dev tools. Okay, so if that is false, then the loafer wants to add our person key to our copy object. How are you going to do that? So you want to do copy key equals person key, like that? Yeah, maybe? So now we're not going to delete copy not name, we're just going to return the copy, yeah? That's the idea? Okay, so we've got a regular expression. If it just contains digits, create a new key with the same key as you're currently iterating over, equal it to the same value that you're currently iterating over. Might work. Reference copy is not defined. Oh, I took the copy out, sorry. Can you have a semicolon of that? I guess you can. You returned name Marlon Brando as an array. That's my fault, right? Yeah, nice. So that does actually work. Key is not defined, key is not defined, because I forgot to put a let in there, right? There's some semicolon. And then we have too many statements again. Right, cool. Yeah. That's one solution. Yeah, not bad. So we managed to successfully use a regex, so good practice from yesterday. And we managed to use the test method to create a conditional. So nice, yeah. Good use of the test method. And we managed to add things to an empty object. I'm going to show you one other way, and you can pick what you prefer, right? So I'm going to create the copy first. Do I need a loop? Yeah, let's. Can we use type of? What does type of do?
Tell me which type of data it is.
Is that suitable in this case, if using type of to tell us which type of data a value is? Yeah? Type of what?
Number.
So if it's equal to a number as a string, right? Type of what? What are we testing that's equal to the number?
Person.
Person key, yeah. Person key, which is how we write the value. If that is equal to a number, then this time I'm not going to add something into the array, I can, sorry, not into the array, into the object, I can just delete it instead. Copy, right? Copy key. Oh, that person. Yeah. And that also works. So, two different approaches to the same problem. You can either create a copy or create an empty object. If you create a copy, delete things from the object. If you don't create a copy, assign key value pairs. And then we could use a regex, or we could just use typeof. For me, it's a little bit easier to use typeof in this case, but the regex was a really nice exercise, so thanks for suggesting that and working through it. Any questions? Nope. I think we're probably just going to have to cover objects today because we've taken a long time, but hopefully we've talked around it enough to help you guys as well. Let's go for that one. Alright, we've got some famous tennis players, and we want to, I don't think the figures are necessarily accurate, but we want to look at how many Grand Slam trophies they have won. Hopefully you've got it on your screens in front of you because it's really hard to see the screen today. So what sort of solution could we use here then? Yeah, we can use reduce on these numbers once we've got them. You right, Ness?
Yeah, sorry.
You okay there? Yeah.
You just showed the thing. That's what I just said.
Oh, no, that's fine. Keep going. I'm just checking you're okay. Yeah. So, yep, we want to use reduce on these numbers, but first obviously we've got to access those numbers, yeah? How many arguments again? One, yeah, one object again. So I'll call it player or tennis player, yeah? Okay. We can directly access the value by using object.values. Yeah, I like that. So we can do object.values. What does object.values return in general? What type of data?
An array.
An array of the values of an object. Nice. What goes inside of our object.values in this case? So not tennis player itself, but part of tennis player. I know that's what you said in the loafer, but yeah, just to clarify, not tennis player because that will just, you know, be the whole thing. But, well, in fact, that will get us Roger as a value and this object as a value, yeah? But we want to access this inner object. We've got a nested object, if you like. So we want to access the values of tennis player.report. Very good. So if I return that now, I know it's not the final answer, but we can clearly see that we've returned 6, 1, 8 and 5 in the first case. Fantastic, we've now got an array of numbers. So it should be relatively easy to sum those, yeah, to calculate the total from those. Great, yeah, love the start. What's next? You said reduce? Yeah. What goes in my reduce function? Report, like that. So what we've done is we've already got an array of 6 numbers, yeah, by using object.values tennisplayer.report. We've got that now. We want to do something with those numbers from the report. So we don't have to use report again. We've already got those numbers, if that makes sense.
Yeah, we need to have an accumulator.
Yeah. So general format, for reduce, we've got like an accumulator, a current value, things like that, yeah? So in this case, we could call the accumulator total or grand slams even, to be really specific. And then our current value can just be tournament maybe even, right? Or tournament wins. Yeah? Cool. And that is a function, yeah? Inside of our reduce, how are we going to add up those things?
Grand slams plus
Grand slams, that's very American, plus tournament wins. Is it okay? Yeah? Okay, I run it, yeah? Semicolon at the end. That's just going to get us one number, yeah, that we want. Ooh. Grand slams is not defined. It wasn't the error I was expecting, but I was expecting an error.
Yeah, you need to put those in parentheses.
Yep, that's one thing. We need to put those in parentheses because we've got more than one argument. That should be okay for that error now. I'll run it again. So no elegance related issues found, but yeah, exactly, Vince, right? We've got no return statement in there. So if we had it all on one line, fair enough, we don't need a return statement in there. There's an implicit return in there. But because I've tried to make it a little bit more readable, I've used the curly braces and dropped it down onto another line, then we need the return statement in there. Now, it works. Lovely stuff. Yeah, so 2 steps in that. First step, get the values using object.values. Get it of a nested object rather than the outer object itself. And then use reduce to sum up the numbers. Yeah? All good? Happy days. 8 minutes for last one. No, if we need longer, we'll take it. We won't rush it, yeah? Get unique celebrity props. Yeah, so part of this, I think it's tricky working out exactly what the question wants.
So if the key is used more than once?
So if the key is used more than once, yeah, sort of. So is first name, present in both objects? Yep, so I'm not interested in that one. If it's just included in one object, please put it into an array. So is it a unique property between these 2 objects? This could be a setup for I want to merge 2 objects. Yeah, so let's just get the values of the unique ones and merge it into the object that doesn't have that value, that key value pair. Yeah. All right then. I can only really think of one approach at this time. So we need a filter in there definitely at some stage, yeah. What are we going to filter on, Vince?
On the key, what was asking for? Oh, for the keys, the object of keys here. So we need to
Yep, so arguments first again, yeah? How many arguments we got?
2.
2.
So select 1, select 2.
Celeb 1, celeb 2.
So we need to get access the keys of each select.
Of each one?
Yeah.
Okay.
So select 1. So assign it. So select 1, select 2. Let select 1 equals that.
Yep.
Let select 2 equals that.
So we've got the keys from celebrity1 equal to the object.keys of celeb1, and we've got let celeb2's keys equal object.keys of celeb2. Yeah, nice setup. So now we've got two arrays filled with what in the first case? What is celeb1 keys going to be?
First name, last name.
So it's going to be an object with first name and last name in, or you're nodding your head? Object, string? Yeah? It's not going to be an object, so celeb1.keys is going to be an array, yeah? Object.keys returns an array of the keys present in an object. So we're going to have first name, comma, last name inside an array. Yeah? First name, comma, last name. So that's going to be the result of line 2. And the result of line 3, let celeb2 keys equals object.keys celeb2. What's that going to be? So if I did return celeb2 keys, what value am I going to get? The same? First name and last name? No. So what's going to be inside my array this time? Just first name? Yeah, exactly. Yep, so we've got two arrays, right? We've got one that looks like that, and oops, first name's still there, yeah. And one that looks like that. So what do we want to do with these two arrays is the next question. Now Vince has suggested using filter. I think that's a good approach, yeah? So which one do you want to filter on, Vince?
First one.
Yep, so celeb1.keys. Celeb1, not even dot keys, is it? Sorry, just celeb1 keys with capital K. Dot filter, yep. And
Just call it anything like key, for example, as an argument.
then call it key as an argument, fair enough.
Function with curly bracket.
Yeah, let's space it out a bit.
Yep, return.
I want to return something.
And then just say, oh, yeah, change myself here. Negate celeb2
Negate celeb2.
keys. Dot. This is my approach, by the way.
You know, I like it, yep.
Here, dot includes key.
Uh-huh. Very nice. Are people understanding what is going on there? Yeah, explain it to me, Nalav. You nodded, explain it to me, please. For the benefit of the group. What's going on line 7?
The reason celeb2 is not present, then included in the first one.
If the key in celeb2 is not present, include it in the first one. Is that what you said? What do you mean by the first one?
Why have we got the array in the function as well? The first name and last name.
Oh, just showing them.
That's just for show at the moment. I'm going to delete that before I run it. But it's still going to be useful for explaining what's going on in here, I think. So, on the first iteration, we are doing celeb2.keys is this one. So we are doing first name dot includes what on the first iteration? What's the key? What's the value of key on the first iteration of my filter function? Last one, guys. Push through, and then we're done.
First name, last name.
Peter? Is it Peter? first name and last name. So keys both. It's magically both. How can a key be more than one thing at any moment in time? It's quantum physics. It's not what I'm teaching. Oh, I forgot we ran out of time. We probably lost that, right?
It was last name.
That's fine. We'll do it again.
It was first name in the first instance, and then on the second instance it would have been last name. We'll go it back. I think I've got a solution in here that's very similar to what. That's not that one. Arrays. To what Vince was going off of. So, that used a loop, but we can adapt that instead. Training, back to training. Yeah, we'll go back to it because I think it was a nice example, and we were pretty much there. Did someone just go her for being pretty much there? Oh no, I can't even get back in because we did so well. It will be enabled in 3 hours and 59 minutes. We could DevTools it, or I could switch accounts, but let's just DevTools it. Right. So we had celeb 1 and celeb 2, and we had celeb 1 keys and celeb 1 like that. We had the same. We did not use a for loop, but that is fine. That's another sort of approach to the problem. So if I comment that out, we probably won't come back to today, but you guys have had enough, I think. But we will talk about that some other time. Right. So Vince wanted to do a filter on celeb2.keys. And inside of that, you just had a key argument, and you returned. No, you wanted to filter on celeb1 keys, didn't you? Sorry. And you wanted to. Doesn't really matter yet. Sure. You want to do celeb keys dot includes. Yeah.
Well, the one is included.
Huh?
The one included, so negates it.
Yeah, but we don't want to include it if they match, so we negate the whole thing. And then just comparing it to the key, yeah? Cool.
You don't want to return anything.
And I do want to return something, right? But not missing props. We want to return the result of the filter, yeah? The array that results from the filter. So what do we have? We had first name.
Peter?
You can call them whatever you want, but we're going with Peter, are we? Yeah?
Yeah, whatever. And then second object is first name and last name, right? Yeah. I've got the values.
Peter and Vince. I was going to go Peter and Polly, but Peter and Vince. And we had a last name.
There's no last name for his first object.
Oh, is it only in the second, was it?
Yeah.
Can I leave that comma there? Will it break it? What's Vince's last name? Uh-huh.
Queen of Sass.
Oh yeah, Queen of Sass.
Vince the Man, yeah. Or Queen of Sass, whatever we want, yeah.
Leave that.
The man's better. He's like, leave that, I don't want to be called Queen of Sass. Alright. So, property check. There's sort of a property. Yeah, leave it as a property check, right. If we run that, let's see what happens. I'm going to need to wrap it, right, because we're in DevTools. Boom, that's all commented. Empty array. Whoop. something there. First name. I've done something wrong up here. Unexpected end of input. Debug time, guys. What did I type out wrong? I've got 2 returns for a start, which is just... Oh no, that's alright, because it's inner one. Key... Run it, see what we get. Breakpoint and start. So our key is first name. So we've done first name. Includes first name.
Try to rename instead of 1 keys to 2. Just turn it around.
What, this one?
Line 5.
Yeah.
Line 5, change it to 2.
2.
Yep, and then line 6, change it to 1. And then I'll just
Yeah. So yeah, that makes sense, right? So you've got the filter over the full list. So filter over the longest array, essentially, because we were running it only once, because we were filtering over this first array. So we compared that and that, they were the same. Okay, great, stop there. We didn't filter over the last name property at all. Yep, good shout. Cool, so as you can see, that works, and we pretty much covered my next question anyway. On the first iteration, what is the value of key going to be? First name, exactly. That is the key of celeb 2 to begin with. So we do we do first name dot includes first name. True or false? First name dot includes first name is true, right? Yeah, and then we negate it, so that returns false, so we don't include it in our array, which is why we got an empty array to begin with. Value of key the second time around? Last name. The value of celeb 1 keys? Huh? So the second iteration round, what does all of this become? So, sorry, yeah, but before it returns false, can we just like translate it into the names of the variables? So we said it's including last name, right? But what's the value of celeb 1 keys? Same as it was before, but what is it? First name like that? As a variable? As a key? So what, like that with a colon after it? What do you mean as a key? Square bracket. So first name inside of an array.
No, then
as a
first name.
Okay, wait.
Square bracket, key inside. Or was that because last time you were using that as a variable?
I'm not fully clear on the question. Does anyone understand
Square
what
bracket notation.
Square bracket notation for objects, yeah.
That's what I was talking about.
So we've already turned our object just into an array,
Oh, okay.
yeah, on that line there. So celeb 1 keys is definitely an array. And what does it have inside of it? Well, it has just that, yeah, the string that represents the key. By the way, in JavaScript, keys are always strings. Yeah, that's the same as doing that. We just don't have to write it unless we've got spaces. Yeah. So our keys are always strings. So all that's doing is an array with first name as a string inside includes last name. Well, no, false, right? Then we negate it, turn it into true. Yeah, so that line becomes, yeah, if you did it step by step, yeah, that's what it's done. So celeb1.keys includes key with a not symbol in front. It's the same as saying not an array with a string of first name inside, dot includes the string last name, because that's our key on this iteration, on the second iteration. All of that becomes true, so we have not true, which of course is false. Yeah? So if you want to really test your understanding of what these array methods and object methods are doing, do that, right? At each line of the code, just break it down. Yeah, stick actual values in there. Line 6 is equivalent to line 7, is equivalent to line 8, is equivalent to line 9 after it gets run. Yeah? It's just what the computer is doing behind the scenes for you. Make sense? Sort of. Yeah. That's the best I can do for now. Probably the rest is practice, I think, on your part. And then if any additional questions arise, then we can go through it one-to-one. Yeah?
You know the line 7?
Yep.
Where you've got the negating the array of first name.
Mm-hmm.
Does the negation not carry over to dot includes, or?
We're negating the whole thing. Yeah. So the negate, that's why I've still included the negation down there on line 8. Yeah, so we're negating all of that. So we evaluate that first. What is first name dot includes last name? Well, that's true, because hold on, have I done it the wrong way around? Sorry. Is that why it's confusing? Does first name include last name? Of course not, right? It's false. So therefore when we negate that, it's true. Yeah, so we're negating all of that pork. The result of first name dot includes last name is false. Negate that to get true. Because our filter function has returned true, it will stick last name inside of an array, because that is the key on that iteration. Maybe I just said a lot of words in English that didn't make sense together, but hopefully you're getting some of it. Thanks guys, and practice. Cheers.